Hi, how you doing? It's Richard Moore, Head of Marketing here at Beneficial Trust and Wills, and we're on to video 3 of our marketing series, helping you to promote your estate planning services. Now, in this video, I'm going to look at probably one of the most important things for people's productivity, for making sure that we make money and that we have good profit margins in our services that we're promoting, and that is our offering. So we've talked about positioning our business in the last video. We've talked about that positioning statement that you were looking at. So quick recap on that last video too was all about how we position our business in front of our perfect buyer, our ideal client, and this is how we position our offer in front of them. So again, having a product offering, having a product service, when I speak to most clients about this, they just focus in and zero in on their core service that they offer. Where actually, as I've said here, it's actually building out a product ecosystem. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 4 different types of products that you need to build into your ecosystem to maximize profitability, and also not to sell to people, to bring people naturally along into conversations, and then have a meeting with them and then make them an offer. So again, this video is very important. Take time, as with the first 2, to watch the video a couple of times and then do the activity at the end of this video. It'll really set you in good stead for when we get into the meat of the marketing piece, generating traffic, building our website, getting lead sources going. But positioning our offering is a key part of this. So products and services don't make money, product ecosystems do. And that's a friend of mine called Daniel Priestley. He regularly says this in his accelerator training, that actually it's having an ascending transaction model, an ATM he calls them, of different products and services that really align with how people buy services in the modern world. The old days, yes, we could get away with having a core service that was promoted to as many people as possible, and some people would have a need for it and take us up on that. Now it's about building relationships with people, sharing lots of interesting content, being that valuable resource of information for them, then slowly working into our core services and then having upsells and cross sells. So that's really a product ecosystem. So if I show you what one looks like, it has 4 parts to it. And I'll go through these in more detail in a minute, but the first part is free gifts, and these are all out there to earn attention. So again, we're giving these with no expectation of any data back or anything. We're really using these to raise attention here, and earn the attention of our buyers. So again, you can see here I've said we're not just focusing on our core product. We're packaging the value that we can offer to people in different ways, and we're pricing it to deliver a certain result as well. And it does follow a set pattern. If you think about how people do research in the modern world, they're consuming free reports, they're reading blog posts, they're watching videos, they're engaging with people on social media, trying to really understand what their problem is in the first instance. If we can help them be that person that provides content to help them understand, then again, we get in the relationship really early on. So it's important that you think of 2 or 3 free gifts in your product ecosystem that you can give away. And then we move from earning attention to helping them understand and diagnose their problems. So again, that's where products for prospects comes in. And really what we're trying to do when we move from here to here is capture some data. So giving people something high value, low commitment. As I've said here, no commitments required here, very moderate value in our free gifts, but they're out there on social media, they're on our website, people are consuming that content and then coming into our ecosystem. So they're coming in from this way as they're doing their early research. We're then going to help them diagnose their problem. So there's many ways to do that. You could develop a diagnostic tool. I think in estate planning, I've seen really good estate planners have a will review here. So something that's high value to the actual potential customer and client, but actually it's quite low commitment for them. And having that review, that will review, is a key example of that. So develop your some sort of product that could act as a will review, quite easy to do with Google Forms, things like that. Or develop some sort of diagnostic tool. So again, I like scorecards, I like quizzes, things like that. If you've ever used an app called Score App, you'll know that that's a really easy way to set up an audit, set up a diagnostic tool, ask people certain questions about their position, and really help them start to self-diagnose the problems. But of course, what you're doing at the same time is you're capturing data when they're answering those questions. PDF guides are a great example. So offering a free guide on your website, a guide to writing your will, a guide to reviewing your will, a guide to when a change in your life may trigger you having to review your will. So again, think of those problems that you did in week 1. So again, we're going back to that work we did there. I said it would be valuable. And that really is the value of it. You've got all those problems written down, the 99 problems, the mistakes they're making, where they're trying to get to, the prizes. So pull together some of those problems into a guide. Show them how to solve some of those problems in a guide. Make that really high value to them. You know, you want to really make sure that people want this. So if you're targeting small business owners, it might be the ultimate guide for small business owners to write their will or to protect their family wealth or wealth preservation for small business owners. A quick guide, I always think 8 to 12 chapters, make it brief, short and punchy, that's engaging. Don't just throw out a generic thing that's not interesting. Really share your knowledge in that guide and make it free to download in exchange for a name and email address, so they can go into your CRM, go into a sequence of emails that follow them up, going through what's in the guide. I would break that down into 8 to 10 emails that go out to people as a sequence to follow up them downloading the guide, and that nurtures the relationship. And remember, this is all done through a workflow. It's all automated, so again, this is happening without you having to think about it. So again, a diagnostic tool's one great option. A PDF guide's another. Running workshops, again, I've seen people running live workshops, running online webinars. All of those things can be a really good way of getting people to come to you. So if you can get 20 people on a workshop once a month and they're all your perfect customers or perfect clients that are coming to that workshop, then again, you can, through that workshop, do what you were doing in your guide, just address 2 or 3 of the main pains that you know they have, and you can share some advice, give them plenty of value in that workshop, and then arrange a first meeting as the call to action at the end of that workshop, or a webinar, have a call to action at the end of that. So I think running live events, workshops, webinars, things like that are really powerful. Having a newsletter people can subscribe to. So again, our newsletter from BTWC, we have about a 45% open rate of it. We try and keep it very fresh. We have video in there. We have the latest updates on case law that's going through on estate planning. We're trying to make it as interesting as possible. You've seen Amy does an expert's corner. We do a little bit of promotion in there, but only really, again, promoting events that are coming up that we think people will be interested in. So again, having a newsletter on your websites, something you send out monthly to everybody, is a powerful way of capturing more data, but also engaging with them and giving value and paying forward. And then I'd say another great product for prospects is a presentation for prospects. So this would be some sort of signature presentation, a deck that you create that you would be able to get out and present as a webinar, present as a workshop. Again, having that signature presentation that you run online once a month, that goes through some of the things to think about with family wealth preservation. So you could talk about wills in there, you could talk about reviewing wills, you could go into lasting powers of attorney, you could talk about trusts. So all of these things that we know people need to be aware of and thinking about, but often pushed to the back of their minds. You could share lots of value and lots of stories of who you've worked with, how you've helped people. Really does, if you can weave that into a really powerful 45-minute presentation, then again, it's a great way of getting some data, getting people in front of you and coming to you. So those 2 areas really are designed to sell ideas. They're there to watch, listen, read, and do. That's what I always say. It's watch if you've got something that people can watch, like videos, if you've got articles and blog posts that they can read, anything to listen to, like a podcast, if you do any sort of podcast or audio content, and then the do, things like the diagnostic tool, checklists, things like that. They're really valuable, and they're all selling ideas, are really allowing you to just position yourself as being helpful in front of that potential client before we then get a natural sales conversation started here. So we've captured data, we're now moving into a natural sales conversation. And when people have consumed these pieces of content, they've started engaging with your content on your website, you will find that it naturally moves into that sales conversation. It's not really hard selling at all. People come to you, especially if you've attracted the right people in the first place. They should be your perfect client. They should be seeing you as the specialist, as the expert in this, as we said last week in positioning in the last video. So actually, they should be wanting you then to help them and support them and deliver a result for them. So again, our core product or our core services are here. So I would focus on having one service that you have as your core product, and then the rest you have as upsells here, products for clients. So once you've got them on board, and I think writing a will is the perfect example here. When I meet estate planners who just focus on getting everybody to come in through writing a will for them, and then they start talking here about lasting powers of attorney, start talking about trusts, maybe even probate services, there's a natural correlation there between your core product and the product for clients. So it should give a full and remarkable solution, which writing a will does. When you do a really good job, listen to people and get them that perfect will in place, they really are impressed and will naturally say, what else should we be thinking about? You have that trust and authority that you build up through that relationship. You've met them one or two times. So again, that natural question should be, what else can you do? It should be packaged for results, and it should give value versus the time you spend on it. So I think a will for estate planning fits the core service, fits the core product to a T. It's a bit like a land and expand model, where you do one thing at a lower price for someone, and then you start talking about the other things you can do, which are these products for clients. Now, this is the ongoing service. Again, it shouldn't really be more of this. It's not more will writing. This is actually other things, other ways, other mechanisms that you know about to protect their family wealth and protect the wealth that they're earning. So again, this is where lasting powers of attorney, trusts would come in, things like that. It's highly profitable. That's the whole point of having a product for clients. You've actually absorb the cost of acquiring clients here as far as marketing goes. The cost of acquisition has been absorbed here. You'll have made a small profit here, but this is all about maximizing that profit and making sure that you maximize the profit from the relationship. You have a holistic view of the advice you're giving your clients, so you know that you're giving them a rounded advice to cover every occurrence that could happen in their life. Highly profitable and continues the journey. So it's not more of the same, but it's associated to what they know you for. Okay, so that is your product ecosystem. So let's quickly recap those. Free gifts and free products are exactly that. They're given away with no expectation of anything in return, and they're designed to share ideas and, most importantly, to earn attention, to stop people in that noisy world that they're in and say, yes, here's some information that you should consider. It'll help you make the right decision for you. And that's how we position it. We're helping them make the right decision for them. We're not forcing our services onto anybody. We're just pulling them in and attracting them to us, so a conversation starts in a very natural way. So I've said again, free reports, social media posts, videos, blog posts, podcasts, live shows. These all offer moderate value. You can give plenty of value, show your expertise, but there's no commitment from the customer. There's no commitment from the client. So again, you will get a volume of people accepting those. Then products for prospects. This is all about capturing data. So this is all about how do we actually capture some data, give them something of high value now, and that's really irresistible. I said that earlier, it's got to be irresistible to our target persona. So that person you've worked out in week one, that's my target. So it's a small business owner, say. We had that example we were talking about. then what tool can we help or put in front of a small business owner that it looks like it's totally exclusive to them and will get them starting to understand their own problems, starting to self-diagnose. So guides are a really good thing, checklists, workshops, webinars, live events, newsletters that people subscribe for, running a scorecard or a quiz. These are all examples of great products for prospects. And I would usually have 2 or 3. I would just pick 2 or 3 of these and do them really well. Make them irresistible. Focus on making them remarkable, as I talk about in my book. You know, every touch point should be remarkable that they have with you as a person, with you as a business. So make sure these products for prospects really blow them away. Okay, don't go down the route of just using ChatGPT to churn out some generic rubbish that anybody could have done. Really put your stamp on it, personalize it, tell stories in there about people you've helped, give case studies, have some testimonials in there, you know, and make them really valuable, because that'll set the scene for what's to come, for when you start talking about your products and your services. Then we've got our core product. So this naturally should lead into the core product. So someone's read your guide, they've had some emails from you, they now want to book a meeting with you. They want to discuss how you're going to help them write that will. If you're just focusing everything on getting them to write the will first, and then from there we're going to talk about other things. So if it's a will review that leads to you then rewriting the will, and then you'll be able to lead into talking about lasting powers of attorney and trusts. Okay, so as an estate planner, I've said here, think about will writing services, how you position those in front of these clients, do a great job for them there, build a relationship, meet them a couple of times, and then that natural conversation is going to start about products for clients, about that next way you could help them, other things that you should think they, or you think they should be thinking about. And this is really maximizing the profit you're making from that relationship, but also giving that holistic advice to clients that we know in financial services, we have to be seen to be doing that. We have to be seen to be thinking about everything for them. So again, lasting powers of attorney and trusts are perfectly positioned as that product for clients. Okay, so a 15-20 minute video this week. What I'm going to do, below this video, you'll see there's a blank version of this, which will then allow you to go to work and take some time, take an hour or so, just to sit down and write down what are some of the free gifts I can write or create. Are you comfortable doing a video? Are you comfortable writing? You know, would you like to write some blog posts or write an article that you can share with people? Have you got any social media posts? And again, with social media, as I'll talk about quite a bit in this video, I want you just to pick one channel that you do really well. Don't try and do all the channels. You know, if you're going to do one channel, then you're after consumers. If you're after, you know, housewives or people, people, consumers that you want to speak to, then you'll be using Facebook. If you're talking more of a business to business relationship, so you're looking for doctors, or you're looking for small business owners or chief executives or executives in companies, then you want to be on LinkedIn. Okay, and that's always my advice to people. You know, if you're a small business, just focus on doing one thing really well, and produce content for that social media platform, and do it regularly, be consistent and regular. And we'll talk about that when we get to social media, but it's a really important thing to take away, because you're busy anyway, you've got a lot to do. So as I say, there's no point trying to cover 3 or 4 different social media channels. Just focus on the one where you know your target client is, where's that persona, what do they use? And once you've identified that in week 1, you should already know which channel you're going to focus on. And then what 2 or 3 things could you put in front of them here? So just list in there 3 free gifts that you're going to work on, make them really special. And then the same here for your product for prospects, think of 3. So think of a guide that you could write. Think of a scorecard or a quiz or an audit, you know, a will review audit that you could produce here on Score App. Think of a newsletter you could send out once a month. So have 2 or 3 things in your product for prospects that's going to then capture data, and that you then share on social media. You have it on your website, it's easy to access. Maybe have a resources area on your website that you offer guides through, you offer your scorecard or your diagnostic tool through. All of those things can be shared through there. And then that's starting that natural conversation. So your core product should be fairly straightforward. This is what you're known for. This is what you do. So just put in there one core product for now. Don't try again selling three things as your core product. Say, no, I'm going to be known as a will writer for small business owners. So in here, will writing services, will reviews, that's all you're going to offer as your core service. Then what else can you offer that can make additional revenue for the business, additional revenue for you, but it's building on this relationship you've already got with your clients? So again, in here, list 2 or 3 things that you can then upsell or cross sell to your client base, just to maximize that relationship and make sure that you're making the most profit that you can out of these relationships, as well as giving that holistic advice. Okay, so that's the end of video 3. The next video I'm going to produce for you and post up is going to be all about your website. So a lot of certainly financial planners in the financial advisors industry, estate planners, I find their websites are all the same. They're just this is what we do. This is us, this is what we do. When most people landing on there are thinking about their problems. So we need to connect in a very different way. I'm going to show you how to attract the right traffic coming to your website. You should be targeting the right people now. You should have your positioning in your mind of how you're going to position your business, of how you can help those people, and your website to become a proper lead generation machine needs to reflect that. So it needs to move away from being a brochure site, which is just what you see on most websites. This is us, this is what we do, to this is us and this is how we can help you and this is how we do it. So again, talk about them when they land on there. Say, this is who we help the best. This is how we do it. And this is how we do it better than anyone else. And then share content with them. Really engage and connect with them in the right way so that you naturally turn those visitors to your website into a lead in your CRM or your database. That lead then gets nurtured naturally through email. You get an email nurture sequence going, build a relationship with them, and then there's a very natural progression from there. So that, to me, a modern website has to be a lead generation machine. It's all about turning those visitors to your website into leads. You're not there for charity. You're not giving information away for nothing. You're going to give lots of value, of course we are, but the whole point of this is to then start that conversation with those visitors, get some data from them, start nurturing a relationship and get a conversation started. So that'll be the next video that we're going to have, video 4. I will post that next week, but this video, hopefully you've enjoyed that. Make sure you now, after this video, before you do anything else, get a cup of coffee, sit down and build out your product ecosystem. So in your mind, you're really clear about what you've already got and what you need to develop. All right, hopefully that was useful. I will speak to you in video 4. Take care. Bye now.